Hello YouTube and fellow DC Comic fans, I'm Keith One Shot, and this is my dramatic reading series, and today we will be covering The Flash Bloodwork Part 2 from DC Comics. We start this story off in Central City, where we see people running away in fear as Bloodwork attacks the city. We then hear a mother shout to her family, "We gotta get out of Central City!" The father of the family says, "Keep moving, son!" and their child yells out in a panic, "But Dad, it's got me!" Then, we see Bloodwork's veins grab several people in the city. Just then, Flash shows up and frees the child. Then Flash shouts, "Listen to your parents, kid!" The father of the family then says, "What is this stuff, Flash?" Flash tells them, "Trust me, you don't want to know. Just run, and don't stop running." We then see the Flash running through the city in his fight with Bloodwork. As the Flash is dodging Bloodwork's attacks, he thinks to himself, "After a trip through the negative speed force, my powers became corrupted and unpredictable. Dangerous. These veins rip the moment they encounter my negative speed force lightning, but my powers are still a danger to the city, and they aren't stopping the blood from spreading. My every step is only making it worse. The best way to deal with this problem is head on, at the source." Then, Flash runs closer to the Bloodwork. Then we hear Bloodwork shout, "Look what you made me do, Flash! All I wanted to do was protect myself, and I won't let you hurt me!" We then hear the Flash think to himself, before he was Bloodwork, Ramsey Russo was a quiet and shy corner at the CCPD, but a few minutes ago, I caught him red-handed, stealing blood samples from the closed cases. He was using the blood in experiments on himself to cure his hemophilia. There were some side effects. Then suddenly, we see Bloodwork attack the Flash with blasts of blood. Then Bloodwork yells, "Do you have any idea what it feels like for your own body to betray you? To live with the fear that the slightest injury could end your life?" Then, as the Flash dodges the attacks, he tells Bloodwork, "Hurting others first won't help you." Bloodwork then surrounds himself and the Flash in blood. Then the Flash uses his negative speed force energy to fight back. Then Bloodwork yells, "With each strike, I only grow stronger, Flash." The Flash replies, "But I don't want to fight you, Ramsey." Then Bloodwork says, "Then why do you keep attacking me? Ah!" Then suddenly, Bloodwork turns himself into a huge blood monster. Then he screams, "Why can't you just let me go free?" The Flash then tells Bloodwork, "Because that wouldn't be justice. You've hurt people, Ramsey." Bloodwork then attacks more civilians. Then he yells, "I'll kill every single person in Central City if it means no one will ever hurt me again." Then, the Flash races as fast as he can to save a man who Bloodwork attacked. Then Flash says to Ramsey, "You don't mean that!" Bloodwork then yells in a rage, "You don't know me! What could some superhero like you ever know about pain?" Then, we see the Flash running past Bloodwork's attacks. Then Flash thinks to himself, the more upset Ramsey gets, the faster he spreads, as if his blood was pumping at a quicker rate, with Ramsey as the heart. Then, as the Flash reaches Bloodwork's face, he stops running. Then he tells Bloodwork, "We're more alike than you think, Ramsey. I've allowed the negativity in my life to build until it exploded before, and I've been running away from dealing with it, and I need to stop. I've lied to people who trusted me. I felt like it was the right thing to do, because it would protect others from hurting them, but it wasn't that. It was me." Then Bloodwork shouts, "What?" The Flash then stands up. Then he looks down in sadness as he lets Bloodwork wrap him up in his veins. Then the Flash says, "My lies. My choices led to them getting hurt. And ever since then, I've been pushing people away because I don't want anyone else to go through that. I don't want to see the look of disappointment on their faces when they find out I'm not the hero they think I am. So please believe me when I say, I know what you're going through." Then Bloodwork says, "Why should I trust you?" The Flash then says with a sad look on his face, "Think about all you told me. I refuse to believe that you would wish your hurt on someone else." Then Bloodwork replies, "You said it yourself. I've done too much, Flash. How do we fix this?" The Flash then replies, "We do it together. I'll do whatever it takes to help you." Then Bloodwork says, "Really?" And Flash says, "Yes, after I stop you." Then suddenly, the Flash grabs Bloodwork by the face and shocks him with a blast of negative speed force energy, giving off a loud crack-a-coom! Blood and lightning then shoot all around, and Ramsey is now back in his normal form. As he stumbles, Ramsey then says to the Flash, "What? What did you do?" Then Flash replies, "I'm sorry, Ramsey. It was the only way, but I promise you, I'll help you." Ramsey then attacks the Flash with blood, but the negative speed force energy repels the attack. Then Flash shouts, "You have my word!" We then hear the Flash think to himself, "Bloodwork was like a heart beating out of control. Once I could get close enough, I used the negative speed force like a defibrillator and gave him a jolt. The shock to Ramsey's nervous system was enough to stop his blood from flowing, but I didn't lie to Ramsey. I meant every word. Ramsey worked hard to help others find justice, but he let his fear of being hurt rule his every action, and he became the thing he hated. I can't forgive him for his crimes, but I can still help him. Lately, I've been self-destructive, pushing away the people who care about me, and I need to make amends. We then go to CCPD, where Detective Burns says, "Dead man walking," as they walk Ramsey towards the cell. Detective Burns then says, "Thought you might enjoy a little gallows humor before we take you to processing." Ramsey then says, "But I didn't do anything wrong." Then Detective Morrow says, "Save it, Ramsey." Barry Allen then walks up to Ramsey and says, "Ramsey, we know you stole the samples from our past cases to cure yourself, but thankfully, no one was killed when you were Bloodwork, and if you work with us, we can." Ramsey then smiles and says, "Excuse me, but where is your evidence?" Then Barry replies, "What?" And Ramsey says, "The Flash destroyed the morgue in his battle with that monster. I was just an innocent bystander in that battle, caught up in whatever the Flash was up to." Barry, I know you've been going through a tough time lately, and that you've become unreliable, but to accuse me of this crime without any proof, I mean, it's unbecoming for a member of the crime lab. Then, Director David Sin says, "Ramsey is right, Barry. If we don't have the evidence, we need to let him go free." Ramsey then says, "Thank you, Director Sin. Now, could you kindly remove these cuffs?" Then Barry says, "Sin." Then suddenly, Kristen Kramer walks in and says, "Wait, Ramsey isn't as smart as he thinks. I did some digging. He might have burned the hard copies, but he left digital fingerprints all over the records. Thankfully, he didn't compromise any of the cases they came from, and we have more than enough evidence for an arrest." Then David Sin says, "Did Barry help you?" And Barry tells Sin, "No, it wasn't. I won't let you cover for me anymore, Kristen. I just left as we were cracking the case. Kristen solved this on her own." Then David looks at the files and says, "Try to smile for your mugshot, Ramsey." Then David tells Barry and Kristen, "My office, now, both of you." Once inside of Director Sin's office, David says, "Kristen, thank you. You just protected the whole lab's reputation. You bailed us all out. It wasn't just one case. It was hundreds at stake. As for you, Barry." Barry then thinks to himself, "I was too busy talking down Bloodwork to do my job. I could tell Sin that right now. But," then Barry says, "I messed up. The things I said earlier, I take full responsibility for them. From this day forward, I'll do better. I'll work harder. I won't be late ever." Then David says, "Barry, we can't keep doing this. I blame myself. I used tough love when I should have just been tough. I had to transfer you out, Barry. You'll still be in Central City, but you won't be working in my crime lab anymore." Barry then says, "What?" Then Sin says, "Lucky for you. Someplace else had an open spot. Wolf said they needed someone for their crime scene prevention unit." Then Kristen says, "Oh no." Then Barry says, "Wolf?" Then David replies, "That's right. You're being transferred to Iron Heights Penitentiary." Then Barry says, "Sin, I know that I..." Then David replies, "And Kristen is going with you." Then Kristen says, "What? Why?" And Sin replies, "Because I need you to think of it as an opportunity." Kristen then storms away, and Barry says, "Kristen, wait, I'm sorry." We then hear Barry think to himself, "I want to blame all of this on the negative Speed Force, but I would be lying to myself. The way I've been acting was never because of the powers. It was always me." We then go outside to Central City, where we see Iris West, interviewing people about Bloodwork's recent attack on the city. Iris then says, "Hi there, Iris West, Central City citizen. Can you describe what you experienced?" The man being interviewed then says, "It was everywhere, like some kind of giant blood monster. Just disgusting." Then Iris says, "What can you tell me about this new rogue? Did he really call himself Bloodwork?" We then see that Barry Allen is watching Iris West from afar, as Barry thinks to himself, "I've been feeling sorry for myself for a long time, letting my anger control my life, from what happened in the future with Dawn, and losing Iris. It would be easy to tell Iris I'm sorry, but actions speak louder than words. I've always tried to move away from my past, but it's time that I embrace it. I need to be me again, to be the Barry Allen, the Flash and friend they think I am." As Barry is watching Iris from afar, Kid Flash runs over and says to Barry, "Iris doesn't want to talk to you, and neither do I. What are you doing here, Barry? I thought stalking was Dawn's thing." Barry then replies, "Slow down, Kid Flash. I come in peace." Then Wally says, "Then why are you spying on Iris?" Barry then replies, "Because I thought you might be near. I wanted to give you this. I don't deserve it anymore." Then Barry holds out his hand and gives Wally his flash ring. Wally then takes off his suit and replies to Barry, "Your flash ring?" Then Barry says, "Until I find a way to control these negative speed powers Thorn possessed me with, I'm not going to be the Flash anymore." Wally then says, "What about the other Wally? We ever going to talk about what his deal is?" Then Barry replies, "We will, I promise. But Wally can take care of himself, and I don't owe him the kind of apologies I owe you. I shouldn't have." Wally then says, "Barry, stop, man. I've been going through some hard times too, and it wasn't until just now that I realized that part of that was because I've been just as guilty of the things I've been angry at you for. You're not giving up, and I'm not taking this ring. When I got my speed powers, I was scared, and I thought they were dangerous, but you helped train me, so now I'll train you. Then, we see Negative Flash and Kid Flash running together, side by side, and that ends today's story. Comic published by DC Comics. All rights, story art, and characters belong to DC Comics and their respective owners. Not me. This has been The Flash, Bloodwork Part 2, and I'm your host, Keith One Shot. If you like this video, make sure to check out the rest of my Comic Complete dramatic reading series, and support DC Comics by picking up a copy of the trades and single issue comics. Support your local comic book shop, take care, and have a great day. Goodbye!